Okay, so today we're going deep on a creature that I've heard so much about, but I haven't really gotten to explore in detail, and that's the beluga sturgeon.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, and you sent me this fascinating YouTube video, and I'm ready to dive in. It's called Facts, the beluga sturgeon
Okay.
from the channel Deep Marine Scenes.
Excellent choice.
So let's get into it. What do we know about this fish?
Well, one of the most fascinating things about the beluga sturgeon is their connection to black caviar.
Ah, caviar.
They're
Yeah,
kind of like celebrities in the fish world because of it.
exactly. I mean, it's caviar. It's like this luxury item that you hear about,
Right.
but most people haven't, actually experienced. So can we break that down? What exactly is black caviar?
Yeah, so black caviar is essentially just sturgeon eggs that haven't been fertilized,
Oh, okay.
but it's considered a delicacy. A very, very expensive one at that. It's one of the priciest foods in the entire world.
And that's really where the problem comes in, right?
Yeah.
Because the video mentioned that they're critically endangered.
Exactly. It's the demand for this luxury good that's driven them to the brink.
Yeah, just how bad is the situation?
Yeah.
I mean, are we talking like a small decline or is this a serious problem?
It's extremely serious. The video mentioned that there was a 93% decline.
93%.
93% decline in the beluga sturgeon catch between 1992 and 2007.
Well, that's like almost completely wiped out.
It's a huge red flag. It really shows you the impact that overfishing can have.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's talk more about the fish itself for a minute, because I was blown away by their size when I saw the
Oh,
video.
yeah, they're massive.
They can grow to be like over 20 feet long.
It's incredible. Think about it. That's longer than most cars.
Yeah, it's bigger than my living room.
Right.
And they can live for over 100 years.
That's right. Size and lifespan. They often go hand in hand in the fish world, especially when you consider they have to produce millions of eggs over their lifetime.
Hold on. Millions of eggs.
Billions.
And they live for 100 years.
Yeah, it's quite the biological feat.
Okay, but wait a minute. If they're laying that many eggs, how are they endangered?
Well, they don't reproduce every year, for one thing.
Oh, okay.
And when they do spawn, it has to be under very specific conditions. Like the video said, they need strong currents and a rocky riverbed. So even when everything's perfect, there's no guarantee.
Makes sense.
Plus, they take a really long time to mature.
Oh, really?
Yeah, males reach maturity between 10 and 16 years old, and females even longer, between 15 and 22 years.
Whoa. So I guess it makes sense that it's hard for them to bounce back if they're overfished.
Exactly.
And the video also mentioned something that I found really interesting. They live in the sea, but they travel up rivers to spawn.
Yeah, that's called being anadromous.
Anadromous.
Right.
So they spend most of their time in the ocean.
The open ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah, specifically the pelagic zone. That's the upper layers of the water column.
Okay. And then when it's time to reproduce, they make this epic journey upriver.
Exactly.
It's hard to imagine these massive fish, longer than cars navigating into rivers.
I know, right? And they actually prefer to travel in the deepest parts of the riverbed, too, so you can imagine the strength and the navigation skills that requires.
That's wild. Okay, so they get to these specific riverbeds, they lay their eggs. What happens next?
Well, the larvae, when they hatch, they're actually tiny.
Oh, wow.
And they drift for about a week in the currents.
They start in the pelagic zone, too,
Yeah,
huh?
they do. They do. Then after that, they transition to a diet of insect larvae and crustaceans. And then get this, in their first summer, they actually migrate back to the sea.
Oh, wow. So they make that journey at such a young age.
They do, and they stay there until they reach maturity.
It's just amazing to think about this whole journey, from tiny larvae drifting in the current to these giant ancient fish navigating these incredible depths. It just makes you realize how vulnerable they are at every stage.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And human activity has really disrupted that delicate balance.
Yeah, pollution dams, overfishing.
Yeah.
We've made it even harder for them to survive.
Exactly.
But the video did end on a hopeful note. It mentioned that there are restoration programs underway in the Caspian Sea,
Yeah, that's right. They're using aquaculture to try to supplement the wild populations.
which is awesome. But I imagine it's just a small step in the right direction.
Definitely. It's a complex issue with no easy solutions.
Yeah. Well, we've covered a lot about the beluga sturgeon today. We've learned about their amazing life cycle, the threats that they face, and some of the efforts being made to protect them.
It's been a fascinating deep dive.
It has. And it leaves me with a question for all of you listening. Can we as a global community really balance the desire for luxury items like caviar with the need to conserve this ancient species? It's a tough question, but it's one we need to think about because the beluga sturgeon's future depends on it.
Well said.
So let's keep the conversation going. Let us know your thoughts and what you think we can do to help protect these incredible creatures.
I'm really curious to hear what our listeners have to say.
Me too. All right, until next time, keep exploring the fascinating world beneath the waves.
And remember, every species has a story to tell.
We'll see you on our next deep dive.
Bye for now.